As we get closer to the release of Doom the Dark Ages, and I slowly take the appropriate time needed to collect all new information on that game for a giant everything you need to know type of video, we'll be looking back at Eternal 2016, maybe the classics and some mods. Just an overall celebration of Doom up to the newest installment's release. And today, I want to start that off by talking about something Eternal did very well over the course of its life cycle. Something that now, in hindsight, provides its own solid experience and refreshes the fundamental of Eternal's combat loop. That's the extra game modes. Now usually when people talk about extra game modes or content apart from the DLC, Horde mode and Master levels are what typically comes to mind. Which makes sense. Both parts of the Ancient Gods DLCs are phenomenal. They expand player knowledge of the Slayer's toolkit, force you to exercise that knowledge, and add some more demons to the roster to add just a little bit more pressure, and of course, the hammer, to just abuse the system like we rightfully deserve by the time that DLC rolls around. The Master levels, on the other hand, are less for the faint of heart. The nature is all about pushing Eternal's fast-paced action to the absolute limits. More demons, more blood, more fuel, more rage, just non-stop chaos. And honestly, after not playing these for a while, there are moments that are forever ingrained in my memory so I don't forget the trauma from so long ago, but even now, there's intelligent mix-ups that I forgot all about and just don't see coming. Like this section of Mars Corps, for instance. Being locked in this room with fog, with a handful of cackle demons and then whiplashes, followed by purple goo, 2 barons of hell, and a tyrant. The main two things you don't often think of how much you rely on are completely stripped away, which is your sight, denying you the chance to know what exactly you're facing or even seeing a solid escape route. And then there's the movement. Because of the purple goo, you basically can't be in the center. Because on higher difficulties, that purple goo, the handful of zombies walking around, the pressure from the 2 barons of hell, and then the tyrant, your inability to move is essentially guaranteeing your death. And in this encounter, you can even go a step further by playing Classic Mode. Classic Mode is one of those things that I forget even exists in Doom Eternal. I always remember Extra Life Mode, but Classic Mode slips my mind. Primarily because, unlike Extra Life Mode, Classic Mode is not playable in the main campaign. It doesn't exist. Not even in the campaign of the DLCs. Instead, it's strictly delegated to a few of the Master levels. Not all of them have it, which is a shame, but for the ones that do have it, adds a fuck ton of challenge. Because the demons you're facing don't change. The combinations, the pressure, none of that is altered. Instead, it's completely up to you to figure out how the hell you're going to get out of the mess that you're in. And in moments like this, when you're in open arenas that are completely void of space and you can move vertically, normally players will automatically default to the meat hook, especially when you have things like pinkies and imps running around. It would only make sense to get yourself airborne and not only utilize the aerial advantage, but you can whip yourself to the other side of the arena, going from one far end to the other, raining hell and denying the demons a chance to hit you. But here, I don't have the meat hook. I don't have the ballista. I don't have any mods for the rocket launcher. Hell, I barely got the sticky bomb for the combat shotgun right before this arena. So all the heavy hitting weapons are gone. My usual get out of jail free card via the meat hook providing an escape attempt is gone, and I'm forced to rely on dashing, strategic chainsaws for the invisibility frames, sticky bombs and grenades for falters to grant openings, and regular grenades for the same thing while also clearing out crowds of fodder demons. It not only takes you out of the comfort zone, but it forces you into experimentation, into learning more about the systems at play here, other ways to get out of tough situations, combinations you would have never thought possible. And for someone like me that's played so much of Doom Eternal, it refreshes it all enough that it feels like a brand new experience. There was a time that I played Doom Eternal so damn much that I would liken it to my favorite dish. I overindulged and I hit a point where I just couldn't play the game anymore. Of course, I would always say positive things, encourage other people to enjoy it, and have nothing but fond memories, but forcing myself to sit down and partake in the same thing, I needed a palate cleanser. And after so much time passing, with the addition of something like Classic Mode, spicing it up even more, it's given me even more appreciation for it as a game mode that I often overlooked, and what Eternal has to offer. For the Dark Ages, they haven't announced any additional game modes. I mean, of course there's other things like the sections with the dragon, the sections with the mech, and I expect with that one DLC that has been announced so far that both the dragon and mech will either carry over or be refined in its sections in the DLC some way, shape, or form. If it's good and people like it, I expect id Software to find a way to bring more of that. But in terms of extra game modes, whether if we get Horde mode, something similar to Master levels, or in this case, Classic mode, whatever it is, it would be nice for it to not only break us out of our habits or even push the Dark Ages systems to 100% like the master levels do with Eternal. But whatever it is, it would be nice to have it alleviate a problem that Eternal suffered from. And that was with the main campaign. Once you saw it, you saw it. The first beginning levels of Eternal is hard to return to. You don't have the full demon roster, you don't have your full kit, but when you get your full kit, the challenge in returning isn't there. There's no point in going back to Hell on Earth, Exaltia, Doomhunter base. I'd say Cultist base, but that one actually has its own master level. It's nowhere near as challenging, but at least you can still enjoy the full roster and the full kit. And I remember Hugo acknowledging that some of the best levels are in the beginning of the game, and how there was talk of some master levels coming out for those levels, but because of time, resource management, and of course just priorities, none of it ever came to fruition. Sure, New Game Plus is always an option. I remember that being on the table and something people asked for, myself included, where after completing the entire campaign, you could do New Game Plus with the full kit, the entire demon rosters, everything is rearranged, and you can play the full game with a whole new experience. Dark Ages is lacking a multiplayer, so all of its software's attention is going to be on that solo experience. Once balancing is addressed and bugs are ironed out in terms of additional modes, while Classic mode is fantastic, and I do wish it was in the entirety of Eternal's campaign, I'm not asking for that to necessarily come over to the Dark Ages. I'm just asking for something that will freshen up the experience, grant some joy and replayability, while hitting a balance of giving every level the chance to be enjoyed with the full kit and full roster that the Dark Ages has to offer, or paying respects to whatever philosophy the game is going after, the game is attempting to achieve. But let me know what you think. What are your thoughts for some extra game modes? What would you like to see? And for those of you that haven't played Eternal in a while and felt similarly to me in terms of being burned out, try Classic mode on a lighter difficulty. I did it on Ultra Nightmare or Ultra Violence. It's still good, hard as fuck, but it's definitely doable.